If I don't run fast, and they catch me, they will kill me, and I can't die either. Meanwhile, the wife runs faster and asks where that place is. It should be here. At that moment, the wife finds the place. Wherever I was camping before, it's a little far. I need to run fast. I need to run faster to get away from them. But they were right near the barrier. And he ends up running to the other side. But just as they were about to face the barrier, they get trapped. As soon as he sees it, he realizes he's trapped, and there's a welcome tune saying it was designed to trap you like this, no. And escaping from it is impossible. Meanwhile, he uses blood to attack them. The blood begins to have an effect inside their body, and he says, "You're not going to die, are you?" Meanwhile, VVR attacks him using a wooden weapon. As soon as the wooden weapon hits, he starts screaming a lot. V was going to his class, but he was screaming a lot. As soon as he reaches him, he is killed instantly. VV verifies that all three of his heads are dead. Finally, he says that he has finished it off. He says that this wooden weapon is proof that I did it, and he was feeling its energy. V says that the skin is quite strong. The question is, now how to take back this Manasar so that I can realize that it is I who has done this Manasar. But besides this task, I have one more important job, which is to protect my people, meaning their territory must be nearby. He had reached close, and a dryer would be necessary. The monster Mainu says to keep their dryer safe as it is placed inside their clothes and has reached the location. I have found the final location. I have done regression of this place. I explored this place 10 years ago, but I didn't find anything here. But this time, I will take something from here, and I feel that something is progressing here. Yet I find nothing. Smiling, he says that now I have to move further, and the dryers are waiting patiently for me. As soon as he moves forward, he sees ruby vines everywhere. He says, this means it's happening with all the monkeys. As he moves forward, he sees the gate of the place, so he enters inside. After entering, he says that the interior of this place is quite grand. He had reached in front of Ruby. Just then, as the wife looks down, she sees a human scalp there. He says it seems like someone was here before me. He picks up a letter and starts reading it. My name, whatever it is, doesn't matter. I refer to myself as Can because I don't want to dirty this white sheet. For your information, I have written this letter. Can explains that it is for the future generation so that they do not repeat the mistakes made. My brother, Abel, and I were passing through here, and we encountered these dangerous creatures, which resulted in us killing quite a few monsters. After killing those monsters, we reached this final assessment place. As soon as we entered it, it grabbed our feet, and we were trapped inside for 3 years. Yet it still requires 3 years. The tray on it is just as bad. This diamond in front of me seems like the final assessment. The letter inside says that when we entered, after entering inside, when we exited again, we became one. Yes, after this task, we finally reached the conclusion. He explains that as soon as my twin and I communicated in our mother's womb, we became one. If we were to achieve the star, only one of us could take it out from here. And we decided that we would fight. In the meantime, they start their fight. And after missing the final, there was one person left, and now we had become 2. But still, I couldn't become the trainer. After finishing off my brother, I felt a lot of regret and decided that I would leave this place, as I had mentioned in the end. Those of you who found the place are very brave, but I want to tell you one thing. This place is extremely dangerous for humans. So the conclusion is this. He reached here after crossing all these Congress challenges, but he couldn't achieve anything. Now it's easy for me, because I don't have a twin brother, and neither did Ball. make a mistake in reading this text. When we started, Maz to enter, we were 1. When we entered, we became 2. When we did it, we became 1. There is no tangent created that cannot be ended, and he was thinking about how to clear this tangent. Looking towards this imagination, he smiles, even in this situation. And finally, I have found its solution. These two brothers did quite a bit. They reached the final. But it wasn't clear what it meant. When we are outside this generation, it means it's dark outside, so we don't exist. As soon as we are in this generation, due to this light, we exist. And similarly, when we lead this generation, why does it become dark outside again? They say this while ending the cycle. After breaking this diamond, some energies emerge from there, and in front of Vivi, the Devil's Den relic sword appears. Vivi is quite surprised to see it, but there was another clue beneath it. It mentioned that only someone with the blood of Baskerville can obtain this Royce Beelzebub. Kim says, "Why is it named Beelzebub? I had read an illustration picture book in my past life which mentioned the gluttonous fly Beelzebub. Which was that fly?" Vivi says that I read in this book many years ago that these monsters attacked our continent. These devil monsters were also called the 7 Calamities. To stop these devils, the 7 Calamities family steps forward. Each family fights against one monster and against this devil fly. The patriarch of the Baskerville family Ford fights. He then eliminates Beelzebub, and Oscar Weller buries the land's innards. And he stores all of Beelzebub's demonic energy within this sword. Many people shed blood to obtain this sword, which is why it was hidden, because this sword was meant only for me. Saying this, Vivi draws the sword, and as soon as he pulls it out, a lot more powers emerge from it, which emit into Vivi. In no time, the sword also starts to emit into Vivi's hand, and now the sword is completely emitted into Vivi's hand. Along with this, when Vivi commands it, the sword reveals its blade. Vivi explains that this blade is made from the power of many devil, and I am the lucky person who has received this Beelzebub sword. And now, there is no stronger person than me. There is nothing left here that I need, so now I will head back. As he moves forward, he suddenly becomes anxious and says, "Man, I'm feeling quite dizzy now. What could be the reason for this?" At that moment, he falls to the ground and says, "I'm starting to feel very weak." As soon as he looks at the bezel, he says, "It's giving some kind of sign, as if it needs to consume something." With great difficulty, he manages to get out of the dungeon, so he says it feels like tears are coming out because of the basil smell, and how has my sensing ability become so sensitive? Meanwhile, this basil pulls Kim in that direction. Kim says it seems like it wants to eat something from there and is pointing me in that direction. As Kim reaches there, he says, "This is the hellhound that I had previously finished off." Meanwhile, that bezel would have started absorbing his blood. Vivi says it's absorbing the blood, but my stomach feels like it needed this. Looking at it, he says it seems like it was very hungry for a long time. The basil had now absorbed the blood and let go. Vivi says, "Is this a unique skill of the basil? This gluttonous ability allows you to absorb your opponent's skills and store them within you, and with this ability, you can destroy anything." Vivi says that I finished off this hellhound quite a while ago. It wouldn't have gotten so many skills from it. If I need to extract a skill, then why not? As Vivi reaches near the Cerberus, the basil, he draws his blood again and starts meticulously observing the saber's blood. He also says that now you can observe all its skills, but it was already quite damaged, so you won't get much. Even then, he sees that he wasn't stopping and says to stop, but he still doesn't stop and starts hitting him. When he finally stops, he sees that it has been added to his slot. He also says that he has finished the demon creature for the practical exam, so now I should relax until the assessment is over. After the practical assessment was over, all the young hounds had returned. Those they had hunted were all here, and they were told that all of these would be recrafted to make shorts and different weapons for you to use. When they show this scene to the Guardian Knights, it happens that the Guardian Knight says it's Hao's work, and we see that he says, "Do you know whose work this is? The young master who was 8 years old crossed India and hunted them. Are you talking about that cyber day? It's difficult to handle, but it was killed. What type of poison was it that killed it, and where will we get that poison from? Not much was recorded, so I only know this much, but I tried hard to reach the young master, but they replied that they are tired and going to sleep. It's already done. Knowledge is your power, and your power is your worth. I am surprised in Burmo, but when I think about the master's bloodline, doesn't Burmo know? I don't care if the previous clan herd is different. I don't care what the bloodline of the hunting dog is. I care about how tremendous its determination and talent are. I will talk about Trar Senior, how premium the bloodline is, but you can understand that it's not at that level. Bring me and the young master. I had reached the master. I heard you did it during the practical exam. Is it true you finished it? Yes, I killed it with chocolate because this chocolate is for dogs, so I just use it to finish it. So you requested senior chocolates? He says yes, absolutely. He says I heard you didn't respond to Barrymore's words when he wanted to talk to you about this. Vivi says that because he is not my master, I refuse to answer him. Hugo asks, so who is your master? Vivi replies, the one who is the head of this clan is my master. Hearing this, Hugo becomes very happy and says, you have learned a lot from here. You tamed the Cyberus and took the first position in the practical exam. I want to fulfill this wish of yours. Tell me what you want. Vivi says that I have been waiting for this moment for a long time. Now I will ask for what I want. He says, my wish is to enter the 9,000 book library. As both of them hear this, they become quite surprised. The 10,000 book library is a massive library located in Baskerville, which is located in the depths of Kinsale. It is the largest library in this empire. He says, it's a 10,000 book library. Do you know that clean head or house members can be added inside it? Only Vivi says, okay, if that's the scene, I'll step back, but if I'm not allowed to enter it, then no problem. Don't make a fuss over it. As soon as he hears this, he says to Vivi, come on, you can enter it. As soon as Vivi hears this, he is quite surprised. How did Hugo even allow entry into it? Hugo says, I want you to read the Baskerville Swordsmanship 6-Fang book from this library. Vivi is quite surprised to hear this and says, never in history has it happened that someone with the middle name Vane got to read the 6-Fang book. Vivi explains that Hugo is currently at 7-Fang, but as soon as I reach him, it will be 9F, Vivi says. If I get to read this pure essential book which was written by Baskerville when he defeated the 7 calamities, and now Hugo himself has given me this book, my energy will become infinite. Hugo tells Vivi, good luck, and Vivi thanks him, saying, I will try to meet all your expectations. Saying this, Vivi was thinking to himself that he doesn't even know. He has given me a decisive sum. He has given me a decisive sum. He had now reached in front of the library, and now he enters the library and says that today, for the first time I have entered this library, I never thought of this. Saying this, he reaches the book rack and says that in Baskerville Clan, no matter how intelligent a child is, they are not allowed to study beyond 4th grade because this is a policy of the Baskerville Clan. Meanwhile, Kim's attention is there. Falls on a book that was locked. He says, Hugo has given me permission to read the 6-Fang Swordsmanship. I never even dreamed that I would be able to date this book. Wei Wei takes the key and moves forward, opening the lock, and says that Hugo has allowed me to read this book because he thinks I'm only 8 years old and can't memorize this book in one day. At this point, he starts reading the book. He also mentions that he had his own Fangtigetkitipi, but he was able to throw the book again. Fans of every level of swordsmanship are defined like this. If there is 1, it will have 1 fang. If there are 2, it will have 2 fangs. And so on, they keep increasing. He says that it doesn't matter to him, that this is Fang 6. After saying this, he reaches the VV gate, with the purpose of coming here. He asks Solar if he wants to leave from here, or if he can go and explore the books. He says no, as much work as I have completed it. He says, okay, but you can also read some more books. He says, all right, let's go. I have to do some skimming and moves towards the CD. So you were talking. He says that it doesn't matter to me what you think about me. My focus should be on my goal. Saying this, he adds that these people don't even know inside this distress is a scripture. It's the same dryer that has been hidden here. He starts searching for that book. There he sees some books, and his eyes fall on that book. Finally, I have found this book. It's called the Looking Embed book, and I am sure this is the book I was thinking of. It says that this basic capture does not need to be read by any first bank student, and some people think that this book is useless. But apart from me, no one knows the value of this book. The scene from before graduation tells that when I was in the unit, our unit captured this book at the danger border and found some pages of the swordsman's scripture inside. And as soon as the swordsman's scripture is given to the Bok family, they say that this is something extremely valuable. The details are explained, and now V starts reading it. While reading it, V remembers V. He also mentions that some pages of the scripture were missing and in search of them. He attacked all over the glass, but he did not achieve much. Sacrifice. I alone found the missing pages, for which I was given a piece of a good job reward. Buddy, my life, kept giving, from which I gained no benefit. But he also says that I still remember what was mentioned inside it, and I will create a scene with it. The book knows that it is informed about all the intricacies. He says, the beginning of this book is such that when one reads it, they will say how much, but as the pages progress, its story becomes stronger because it is a connected scene.